Welcome to the Keith Lowry channel. Today we're going to be changing the brakes on a 2014 Ford Focus SE hatchback. Alright, I'm going to show you the steps, so let's get started. Alright, first thing we're going to do is open the hood, grab the hood prop rod. Sorry, see if you put it in the right place. Haha. Alright, put that in its right place, and we're going to go ahead and open the master cylinder. This will allow air to escape as the piston of the caliper is being compressed. Alright, next thing is next. Going on here, we're just going to jack up the car. I have an air tool, so I'm not going to worry about breaking the lug nuts loose right now. Normally you would want to break them loose while it's on the ground if you were using hand tools, but I have an impact wrench, so it makes that a lot easier. Alright, and never get under a vehicle that is just supported by a jack. Always use a jack stand. Lower the vehicle back down onto the jack stand slowly. There we go. The vehicle is secured, supported by the jack stand. I have here my trusty impact wrench, and then an extension and a variable size head. It's 19 millimeter and 21 millimeter. I'm going to be using the 19 millimeter side. So just feed it into there. There it goes. Alright, then I'm going to come down here and get these lug nuts off. Put them somewhere that you will not lose them. They're very important to have. Now that the tire is loose, we can remove the tire from the car. I'm just going to grab it by either side. You never want to put your hands here and here, it's just as a safety precaution in case something were to fail. The car would come down and crush your hands. So side to side, pull the tire off. And if you want an extra layer of security, you can tuck the tire in like that. Next thing we're going to be doing is removing the brake caliper assembly to replace the brake pads. Next thing we want to do is remove these plastic caps that cover the slide pins. They should just pop out of place. Just like that right there. That's what they look like. Set those over to the side so you do not lose them. They are to keep dust and debris from getting on your slide pins. Alright, got the other one. Now, inside of here is going to be a T45 size connector, a Torx 45. And we're going to go ahead and loosen those up right now. We're going to start with the bottom one. Alright, that's loose. We're gonna not drop the socket wrench from the hole. Alright, you can stop while I'm loosening this. After you get the slide pin loose enough, you can just pull it out of the housing. It looks just like that right there. Set that to the side. And then you want to repeat the tops. See, we're just changing the brakes, so see if we can get it to slide off there. Nope, no can do. So You want to repeat that process for the top up here. Thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this retainer spring. It should just pull out of place. There it goes. Got it. And the new kit came with new ones, so you can dispose of these. And then you want to lift your caliper off of your rotor, and your old brake pads are going to be ready to fall out. This one has special clips to maintain it into the piston board there. Don't let your brake caliper hang by the brake line. That'll create brake fluid problems, leaks, you name it. All right, next thing we have to do is we have to recompress the piston back into the bore housing. And to do that, we're going to be using the old brake pad and a C-clamp. So what you want to do is open up your C-clamp until you can get the back of the housing in a good spot. And then you want to start tightening down your C-clamp. And I don't know if you can see the piston moving behind there, but I can feel it. It's collapsing in to the bore. All right, once you get it seated down, and that's the reason you open the master cylinder too, to give that air pressure and that hydraulic pressure somewhere to bleed out to into the master cylinder instead of having it try to do it through a sealed airtight system. All right, now you take your old brake pad, and you can't see it much, but it's pushed back in there a good bit from what it was. All right, now we're going to install the new brake pads. Taking some brake lubricant. This is ceramics, and we're going to lubricate the metal contact points. Be careful not to get any on your brake pad, but we're going to lubricate the metal contact points of the brake shoe itself where it meets up in here. And also, if you want, you can put a little around the piston, but it doesn't matter in this particular case because this is going to get installed this way with the angular sides facing upwards. And then you just slide these clips into the bore housing. Nothing ever goes according to plan. All right, slide that into place just like that right there. Then you take your next brake pad. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put some brake lubricant on the next pad, right at the metal contact points. And you got some right here. Careful not to get any on your rotor or on the brake pads, as I've said before. Then you want to line this up inside of here. You just set this one down into place, and then make sure your routers flush up against, or your rotors flush up against there. Bring it back down here. Make sure you're not twisting your brake line. And if your brake shoe falls a little out of place, you can just tuck it back in there, and then go over the router, or rotor, I keep calling it a router, over the rotor. Your brake pad hinges are going to seat into those little seats, and then you just hold your rotor in place. You use your T45 and you tighten those slider pins back down, and that holds your caliper assembly in place. T45 slider pin, you get it fed back in. There you go. Line it up with where it's supposed to be. Give it a few twists by hand if you can. And then grab your T45, and I'm starting with the top one on this one. You can start with the bottom. And you're just trying to get it lined up so that the slide pin will go into place. Okay, let me just check. I think I got it lined up. lastly, you want to reinsert your plastic caps into the rubber housing for the slide pins. Sorry, you can't really see what I'm doing, but they just press back into the housing. You want to go ahead and put your retaining pins back in that mount up to here. Then the bottom one pushes up to the outside of this one. Go ahead and get it lined up in there. And there you go. Nice and tight. Good and snug. And that's what holds the brake from traveling forward, backward, and forward. That was how you do the front brake pads on a 2014 Ford Focus SE hatchback. That was the passenger side we did. The process is just the same for the driver's side. You just got to knock that out, and then you'll be good to go on your front brake pads.